Hi guys, so in this short video we're going to think about the grapes, but specifically the geography of the grapes for Mesopotamia. You should watch this video in conjunction with the reading worksheet. This video is based on the reading worksheet, so it's not originally my own work. So, the region where Mesopotamia was has two rivers that flow into it, hence the name Mesopotamia. These rivers provided water, which is important for the development of agriculture. The land around Mesopotamia was mainly flat, with scrubby plants. These are small bushes. The rivers provided water and also a means for transportation and travel. In ancient times, it was much easier to travel and trade by boat than over land. Boats can carry very heavy loads, and river currents help to move the boats when travelling down the river, so it made trade with other places for Mesopotamia easy. Almost every year, rain and melting snow in the mountains above Mesopotamia caused the rivers to swell or flood. As the floodwater flowed down the mountain, it picked up soil. When the soil reached the plains or flat area of when the water reached the plains or flat areas of Mesopotamia, it dropped this soil. This soil is very fertile. It helped to build up the floodplain, make the floodplain very flat, which is easy for building on, but also made it excellent farmland. As the water spread over the floodplain, as we said before, the soil was carried there and it settled on the land. So you can see in this picture we have nice, beautiful, fertile land that's close to the river on the floodplain. The climate in Mesopotamia was very arid or dry. Each year there was less than 30 centimetres of rain in southern Mesopotamia, and the summers were very hot. We call this type of climate arid. Although the region was very dry, the ancient people who lived there could still grow crops because of the gift of the river that flooded every single year. Farming villages spread across all of Mesopotamia by about 3500 BC. The work of the farmer was very difficult. Crops needed to have the right amount of water to thrive. The floods and the arid climate in Mesopotamia meant the farmers often had either too much water or too little water. An important thing here is that Mesopotamia had specialist farmers. That's all they did. So in these very difficult conditions, they were able to specialise and get really good at farming. Nevertheless, it was a very challenging task. As we have said before, the yearly floods of the Tigris and Euphrates were very important, but also they were very unpredictable. No one was sure when the river would flood or when there will be drought. The flood might happen in April, or it might not happen until June. Well into the year when the farmers should have planted their crops. How much flood water there was depended on how much snow melted in the mountains above Mesopotamia. Sometimes there was too much water, so that caused flooding. This caused a problem. Sometimes there was too little water, and this caused a drought. In this picture, we can see a stone tablet that records a period when there was a drought. We've seen that one of the achievements of Mesopotamia was writing. So if there is a long period when there was too little rain, we call this drought. In arid regions such as Mesopotamia, drought was a constant danger. During a drought, the level of the Tigris and Euphrates would drop, making it really hard for the farmers to water their crops. If the crops failed, the people of Mesopotamia starved. So as early as 6000 BC, Mesopotamia's farmers, who were specialist farmers, remember this is all they did, started to take control of the situation. So one of their biggest achievements was regulating the water supply. Mesopotamian farmers began to take steps to control this water supply. They built earthen walls along the riverbanks to hold back the floodwater. They built canals to carry water from the rivers to the fields. This system is called irrigation. Mesopotamia had another problem with its geography. It didn't have very many resources. Because of the lack of resources, the ancient Mesopotamia had few conventional building materials. So they could not build out of wood or stone. Instead, they used reeds and mud to build their homes. This is a problem that the geography of Mesopotamia has created, but they did overcome this problem. Lack of resources was also a problem for defence. The region was very easy to invade because it was not surrounded by mountains or other natural barriers. It was a flat floodplain. This floodplain was good for farming, but very bad if you wanted to defend yourself. As a result of this, many people came from all over the area and tried to steal the resources and conquer the Mesopotamians. Of course, the Mesopotamians wanted to protect themselves. However, they lacked trees or stone needed to build strong defensive walls. So instead of using stone, they made bricks and built brick walls around their towns and villages. In this example, we can see a decorative stone wall made out of bricks. Mesopotamians, of course, had to acquire resources from elsewhere: stone, wood, copper, and tin, and they did this through trade with Southwest Asia. They also traded luxury goods like gold, ivory, ebony, and precious stones. In exchange for these goods, the Mesopotamian merchants offered grain, dates, and other farm products. This was possible because the Mesopotamians had a surplus of food. They didn't need all of the food for themselves. So this form of trade, which was very early on, was one of the big achievements of Mesopotamia. The geography of Mesopotamia helped this to happen because trade happened along the rivers. Also, writing and record keeping was absolutely essential. As well as record keeping, you would need specialist people to do these tasks. So we start to get social structure. So you can see how the different grapes are actually linked to each other. In this picture, you can see people trading animals and crops. This trade could only have happened with writing and with a social structure and the ability to specialise in particular tasks. Hey guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Sorry for the annoying alarm, but I set it because I have to feed my cats. So I'm now going to go away and feed my cats because the cat alarm has gone off. Remember, the different grapes are separate, but also they are interconnected with each other. So we will talk about this interconnection of the grapes later on in future lessons.